What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more r/Am I the Butthole? But these stories all have updates. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. And just a huge thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here. And let's crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from Warm Blanket. Am I the arsehole for not attending my friend's wedding on the day of my family's death anniversary? 7 years ago, I, 35 female, lost my husband, daughter, and mother to a car accident. They were hit by a drunk driver that drove through a red light and killed all of them on impact. Their deaths greatly affected me, and if it weren't for my friends and years of therapy, I would be in a much lower place. I am very thankful for their support and have been able to process my grief properly. 2 years ago, I took a job offer that provided more benefits than my current one and moved far away from the city to another. I travel back to occasionally meet up with friends and of course to visit my family's graves on their death anniversary. It is a 7-hour car drive or around an hour by plane. Due to COVID, last year I drove to avoid contact with people and stayed at my old house. This year I planned to do the same thing but ran into an issue with my friend having a wedding in my old city. My friend Amy, 33 female, fake name, announced she was engaged last year to her boyfriend of 3 months. My friend group and I were quite shocked as we never even met him, nor did we know she was dating anyone as we usually tell each other. But nonetheless, we congratulated her and were happy for her. They were supposed to have their wedding last year but couldn't due to COVID and postponed it to this year. We are not in the US, by the way, and COVID cases are now less than 10 here in my country. We are allowed gatherings of less than 15 people, and that is what Amy decided to do for her wedding. About a week ago, Amy called me privately to tell me her plans for the wedding. She told me that she is having it on the same day as my family's death anniversary, and would like me to not visit their graves and just attend the wedding instead. I was quite shocked that the wedding was planned that specific day, and questioned as to why she picked that day. Amy told me that she just liked the number date and told me that I can't just gatekeep a certain day. Then I asked her why I can't go visit my family's grave. She told me that she doesn't want my sadness and grief to take the attention at her wedding. I was incredibly stunned at what she said. I know I am quite emotional, but I know how to compose and behave myself at certain events. Here's where I think I am the arsehole. I told Amy that unfortunately I will not miss out on visiting my family's graves. I tried to ask for a compromise and told her that if my emotions were that much of a problem, I'll attend their graves after the wedding was over. She said she wants my support for the entire day and dedicate it towards her, but she'd think about my offer. It's been a week and I have not heard from her. I feel like I should just go to the wedding to keep the peace as I owe it to her, especially after all the support and love she gave me at my family's death. But it doesn't feel right that just attend the wedding and forget about my family. Would I be the arsehole if I told her I won't be attending the wedding at all if she hasn't reached a decision? I do question people that are like this, that they seem to have no empathy for what OP has gone through. Sure, they may have gone through therapy and some time has passed, but putting myself in that girl's shoes, and it was her the girl that's having the wedding, putting myself in her shoes and thinking I'm going to tell my friend not to go to a I can't even get to the end of the sentence by thinking that is a crazy idea, by asking your friend not to go to their family's graves because it's your special day. It just makes no sense to me. How could anyone ever approach that? And she has the cheek to saying you're gatekeeping a day when she's telling, no, you have to dedicate that day to me. I mean, come on now. I do question if that is a real friend or not in this situation. And as I said, we do have an update to every single post today, which we will cover after some comments. So let's get started. And we start off with Tracy Min OB saying, not the arsehole, I'm so sorry for your loss, but I have a question. Why is Amy allowed to gatekeep that day for her own, but not you? After all, her wedding anniversary will be on that date from now on. Will she try to force you to forget about your loss every year? I think it's really insensitive and selfish of her. And Diea says, first off, my heart goes out to you. I can't imagine what it's been like to go through what you've been through. As to the question, and quotes, she told me she's having it on the same day of my family's death anniversary and would like me not to visit their graves and just attend the wedding instead. And then says, and that's the point which I knew she was the arsehole. Had she unknowingly picked the same day, invited you, and found out too late, that might have been closer to no one's an arsehole here, but deliberately picking the day she knows you grieve on. No, that's not the action of a friend. You aren't gatekeeping that day. She and others can do what they like. You are simply saying that you are not available that day. Not the arsehole, you're not even close to one, and Amy's just about a double one. Not just for planning her event on that day when she knew its significance, but for pushing you too. Ugh. And Harkness Delta says, not the arsehole. This woman is not your friend at all. In your shoes, I'd probably go off on along the lines of, your wedding will never ever ever compete with honouring my dead family. You know, the spouse and daughter and mother I lost on the same day. I'm so sorry, seriously, don't ever speak to her again. And Type 1 Error says, Amy is not your friend and you are not the arsehole. What kind of selfish monster tells someone that they need to pretend the worst thing that ever happened to them didn't happen because she wants to be the centre of attention? And now, let's move on over to the update to see what it says. So, update, am I the arsehole for not attending my friend's wedding on the day of my family's death anniversary? Hello Reddit, I want to start off by saying thank you to everyone who replied. I was not expecting my post to get this level of attention. I've read all of your comments and thank you once again. I'm in tears and became an emotional mess after reading your thoughtful responses. Thank you for the love and support. I have always felt some sort of emotional burden to my friends, so thank you for your encouraging messages and telling me to keep my head up high. Even though we are all strangers on the internet, it sort of felt like I gained new family. My heart goes out to other people who have messaged me privately of their experiences with losing their loved ones to drunk driving as well. Please know, I felt your pain, you are not alone in this, and I wish you all the love in this world. Now for the update. I did what some of you suggested and called my other friends to let them know what Amy had asked of me. They were quite livid and angry for me and had no idea what Amy was planning for the wedding. We arranged a Zoom call with her the next day to discuss why she has been so insensitive to me. Well, the call was quite the battle. It started off calm, then Amy just blew up. You guys were right when you said that Amy was jealous of the attention that I received during the time of my family's death anniversary. Her wedding was a way to shift the attention towards her. She tried to explain to us that by having the wedding on that day, it will turn a negative situation into a positive one. When she realised she wasn't convincing enough, it felt as though the mask had fallen from her face and she started yelling and insulting me. She said that she is tired of having to play the supportive friend role and that it's been 7 years. I should just get over it by now or go join my family in the ground. Whoa. My friends lost their anger and called her every name in the book. I am honestly just shocked and disappointed at the person who used to be my friend. It breaks my heart knowing I lost another person in my life, but I guess you guys are right in the sense that she never really was a friend. I now look back at our friendship and realise it was often one-sided on my part. I wish it didn't take me so long to realise it. No one in our friend group of 6 people are going to her wedding now. We have decided to go no contact with Amy and block her on all social media. My friends had offered to go to visit my family's grave together with me. I accepted, and we are now planning to also make a scrapbook with my family's pictures. For once, I am actually looking forward to this day and will start to plan more eventful activities like this. Thank you once again to everyone for helping me through this, and please remember, do not drink and drive. I am begging you, please don't. Please drink responsibly and drive safely, everyone. Edit. I was once again not expecting this amount of attention. I am in literal tears. Thank you everyone for your kind words and sympathy. I appreciate your love and support. I don't think I deserve the awards you've all given me. Thank you, kind strangers. Some are asking about Amy's fiance and his thoughts. We haven't heard anything as we still haven't even met him. We tried several times to meet him last year, but something always came up. I guess we'll never know his true feelings. Edit. I'm so sorry for not being able to reply to everyone. Thank you for your kind words and support. And I tell you what, OP isn't the only one in tears right now. Gee whiz. That one set me off. It was just a bit where it says my friends have offered to go visit my family's graves together with me, and they're making a scrapbook and they're turning it into something, you know, something that OP can look forward to, and it just, the love and support, man, it just gets me in tears. But the part in the middle of that where she says she should have just gotten over it by now, or she should just go and join her family in the ground. I mean, fucking hell. Who says that kind of thing? Absolutely crazy. But OP, if you ever do hear this, I'm not sure if you ever will, but much love to you, and I hope, and it sounds like things are moving in just positive all the time for you, and just And I just hope they continue to do so. And our next story comes from Birthday Party Post. Am I the arsehole for asking my dad if the reason he missed my birthday was to be with his other family? My parents divorced 3 years ago because my dad had an affair and the lady got pregnant and he left us to be with her and the kid. My sister and I hate him, but our mum still wants us to have a relationship with him, so we see him once or twice a month to make her happy. My sister and I turned 16 on Saturday, twins. We had a party in the park with our aunts, uncles, cousins and grandparents from both sides of the family. We all wore masks. The only person who didn't come was my dad. He came over yesterday to drop off our present. I swear it was made for an 8-year-old. This was it, by the way, and I think it was a dress of some sort because the link is broken now, and said that he was sorry that he couldn't come to our birthday and that he was busy. He lost his job in May and he had been sitting on his ass playing video games since because nobody's hiring, so I know he wasn't working. I asked him directly why he couldn't come to our birthday, and he just said he was busy, so I looked at him and asked him if the reason he missed our 16th birthday was because he wanted to be with his other family instead. He left without saying anything, and I've been banned from the house for being rude. Am I the arsehole for asking my dad if he missed my and my sister's birthday because he'd rather be with his other family? Edit, he hates it when we call them his other family because he wants us to think of them as our family. He even tried for a while to get him to call his wife Mum. And again, we do have an update to the story, but we'll cover a couple of comments first with Dan Not a Man saying, not the arsehole given the circumstances. You have a right to ask questions. He in fact did leave your family for another. He isn't doing you guys a favour by coming to see you or bringing you that dress that was made for a child. I understand where mum is coming from, wanting you to have a relationship, but kids should never have to put in more effort than the adult. Hopefully your mum will see your side and understand that your dad is not being nice. And Hodon says, him banning you from the house tells you everything you need to know, not the arsehole. And Bing and Bong says, not the arsehole, you asked a difficult question and deadbeat daddy didn't like it. Sorry your dad sucks, OP. And Mrs. Toaster Mafia says, not the arsehole, I'm sorry your dad sucks, OP. Don't feel obligated to accept anyone in your life you don't want to. You were banned because he doesn't want to face you. If he was busy, why didn't he just call or text and say that? Because he's the arsehole here. And the dress looked like it belonged on a doll. In life, you sometimes mature past people you thought you'd always need or would be there for you. Even our parents. Thank him, the disappointment he brings you now will only make you better and more prepared for life. It will make you stronger. And now we'll move to the update to see what that says. So update, am I the arsehole for asking my dad if he missed my birthday party to be with his other family? The visits with my dad have stopped. Instead, we spend those weekends with our grandparents, which is way better. My sister and I returned the dresses. My sister bought a jacket that she liked and I got shoes and makeup. When my dad found out that my sister and I weren't visiting anymore, he got mad. He said he didn't mean it when he said I was banned and I need to have a relationship with my brother and sister. Yes, this is how my dad decided to announce that his wife is pregnant. He also thought that would be the right time to tell us that our sister would need our room, so when we visit, we'd take the couch. He also wanted 50-50 custody. When our mum heard that he was giving away our room and wants us to go to court for more custody, she lost it. She screamed at him about how irresponsible and selfish he is and told him that he'd be laughed at court if he tried to get custody without us even having a bedroom there. I think he's still trying to go to court, but my sister and I don't like him and don't want to stay there anymore, and we don't have a room, so there's pretty much zero chance we're going to have to stay there. Also, my mum introduced me and my sister to her boyfriend the other day, and he seems great. He really wants to get to know me and my sister individually, something my dad didn't even care to do. And he's so nice to us and my mum. They're talking about him moving in a few months. So even though my dad's a dick, I guess this story still has a happy ending. Edit, I just looked it up and we're in a state where there's no guarantee they'll take what we say into account and you legally can't refuse visitation. Update, Dad's new wife talked with him into converting the basement into 2 bedrooms and a bathroom for me and my sister, so we might have to go now. I don't understand that though. If you're like 16-year-olds, surely they can make their own decisions about their own parents, and clearly they don't dislike their dad, so why would you force a 16-year-old to be somewhere where they don't want to be? I don't quite get that. I don't get the rules around it either. I know it's very different between the UK, US and everywhere else in the world, so I'm not going to comment too much on that because I don't know enough, but I would love to know your thoughts on this situation. Let me know in the comments below. And our next story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for not telling my husband about my current medical situation? I would like to start by noting that I struggle with social issues and have a history of making fact-based, logical decisions, in my opinion, many of which I've been told were cold, cruel and mean, although that was never my intention. My husband has been my emotional interpreter for many years. Since I can't ask him, I'm hoping that Redditors of Am I the Arsehole can help me out. For the last 18 months or so, I've been seeing doctors to diagnose an ongoing and progressive issue. Finding a diagnosis has been delayed due to COVID, so I've not yet been formally diagnosed yet. It's pretty certain that I have some form of neuromuscular disease, but which is one yet to be determined. I have not told my husband this. The reasons I have not are: 1, he has been very depressed over this past year, lockdown, etc. 2, he has a tendency to overreact and downward spiral when bad things happen. 3, I don't want to cause him unnecessary pain when at this point I'm not sure what is going on. 4, I am also stressed out and don't think I can manage his reaction at this point. 5, when I was deciding if I should tell him, I asked him a theoretical question, if he would want to know about potential bad news. His response was, "Ignorance is bliss." Notes: I do plan to tell him once I have a diagnosis and a plan in place. My husband is very sweet but not very observant. He has not noticed or asked about anything. I've never flat out lied to him, although I do acknowledge and understand that an omission is less than truthful. I was talking to a mutual friend who happens to be a nurse, and she was appalled that I went this long without saying anything. She also knows my husband pretty well and thinks he's going to be really mad about this. We have kids, he needs to prepare himself, etc. My thinking is that he was going to be mad anyways, and I was giving him more time to enjoy life before the bombshell drops. Plus I've already made all the necessary preparations. Am I the arsehole? Should I tell him now? Thank you. And we'll start off with Elegant Ant, and just to mention we do have an update for this one as well. Not the arsehole, this is a tough situation. I understand wanting to conceal disturbing information from your husband since he may end up in a depressive spiral. I might bring it up in a way designed to convey basic info but not spark a trip to Dr. Google to find out how many weeks you have left. Something like, I've been having these symptoms X and X and may have to go for some tests to figure out what it is. So far it affects my life in Y and Z ways. Don't go into prognosis, just facts about the situation as now. That way when you have a real diagnosis, he won't be hurt that you've been concealing a health issue for him for over a year. And Castaway says, no one's an arsehole here. He said ignorance is bliss and you don't have anything definite to tell him yet. Once you do, you are going to tell him. I do think it's bad for you that you can't tell him and have him share your stress and be support to you at what must be a very difficult time, but you know him best. If he would need support more than being able to provide support, then it's probably easier that on you not to tell him. Your friend isn't living in your shoes and shouldn't judge the situation from the outside. Sorry you're going through this, hope you get an answer soon and that's not as bad as you expect. Edit to change to no one's an arsehole here, as he's also not the arsehole. And the Raccoon Ninja says, I get the impression that in your marriage he does most of the feeling work and you do most of the serious work, and that's the pattern. When there's a problem he worries and you solve. But in this case, the coming worry just seems too big for you to manage and you're waiting for a diagnosis so you have a logical, concrete plan to balance that. It all sounds familiar. You have to find a way to balance the scales. You need to feel and he needs to step up and support you. When you're ready to tell him, don't just give him medical terms and treatments. Tell him your worries, the dreams you're grieving and what you're struggling with. No one's an arsehole here. And now we'll move over to the update. So update says, am I the arsehole for not telling my husband about my medical issue? I thought that my update might be important to someone who might be considering taking advice from Am I the Arsehole, especially others with cognitive and emotional impairments, as I did, and it blew up in my face. I read all comments and the overwhelming majority of commenters told me that I should tell my husband about my illness, despite my gut feeling telling me it wasn't a good time to do so. I second guessed my judgment because of my disorder and followed Am I the Arsehole's advice. Bad idea. My husband had a complete breakdown. Although he is not explicitly angry with me, he doesn't understand why I did this right now. He knows that I did not require his emotional support. It would have been a different story if I did. He feels like he needs to carry the emotional burden of everything in our marriage, which is true, and that I was putting more on his plate when he was already struggling. He said that I had nothing to gain from telling him and he had everything to lose. He's been having severe anxiety attacks and insomnia, has to take some time off work, which sucks for us financially, but unsafe for him to work as he is. I genuinely appreciate the people who took the time to understand the intricacies of my situation, even though the advice didn't work out. Thank you. The judgment ableist trolls with zero compassion can GFD. I'm not sure what that stands for. And I might be wrong in saying this, but the husband's reaction to this is very concerning, that, you know, the wife is going through some real emotional stuff, and he turns around and says he knows that I did not require his emotional support, which is not the case really. In reality, I mean, come on now. You're a married couple, so surely you should be supporting each other through whatever happens. And I know every couple is different and every relationship is different, so it might be wrong for me to judge like that, but that's just the way I feel, and it feels like OP is going to be isolated whilst dealing with this, and I don't think it's fair. Very sad situation in my opinion. But I turn it to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? Let me know in the comments below. Now, once again, guys, I hope you did enjoy today's video. Stories with updates. Let me know if you like an update or two, because I do enjoy finding a conclusion to some of these stories, especially if they're wholesome. Obviously, in the last case, it wasn't so wholesome. It's a bit of a question mark at the very end there. But let me know your thoughts on stories with updates. Your constant feedback allows me to improve the channel and hopefully make it a better experience for you. It's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy improving all the time, because I don't want to become a bot channel. I don't want none of that. I want it to be a decent channel which continues to improve and is better for you. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.